Summer is hot in Houston, and I don't want you to make the mistake I made. After months of not being used, I turned my AC on without inspection, and it wouldn't work. Fortunately, Mark Rendon and his team from DesignAirHouston.com came to the rescue. They were friendly, affordable, and fast. Call Design Air today to avoid AC problems or to solve them quickly at 281-469-6048, 281-469-6048. Again, 281-469-6048. Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I mentioned, in fact, in the last segment, we have a new contributor. We have him here in our studios. Doug Williamson's been a guest before on The Price of Business, and he is back, and we're going to see him with a great deal of frequency. He's also a contributor over at usdailyreview.com, and in fact, this evening he has a great article over there that you have got to check out, and delighted to be able to have him on the program. Good to see you, buddy.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, you know, the book is called Thoughts of an American Taxpayer, and although you have a CPA and you have that credential, it is written with such power, and from an emotional perspective, you can feel your angst, and it's not only an angst for our generation and the next generation coming up, but even for future generations. And you seem like a man who's saying, you know, what the heck? What are we leaving behind?
Exactly, Kevin. Because I mean, this is for the kids, the grandkids, and every American out there ought to be worried about the next two generations, I would think, maybe even three if this guy stays in office. Yeah,
absolutely right. And so it's a very passionate book, very thorough book. And what I like about it, and I guess it's a CPA in you, is that it combines a great analytical and detailed approach, but at the same time, it has kind of a sweeping approach that comes with a manifesto that it's time for us to take it back.
Exactly, yeah, because, I mean, you know, as a CPA, I mean, I got a lot of ideas about the tax laws and everything else, and the IRS, which is pretty tough right now, and the EPA. I mean, I got ideas on everything, and that's the reason I titled the book Thoughts of an American Taxpayer.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got an article over there at usdailyreview.com and also at priceofbusiness.com. We're putting it at both places. We have it at both places. And it was inspired, I'm sure, by your book and reflects some of the content of that book. And the great thing about his column is that you're going to see pieces of the book, and you're going to say, hey, I need the whole thing. And that's exactly what I felt when I read this part of it. I needed the whole book. So what is the theme in tonight's article?
Well, the article, really, I think the main reason we have President Barack Hussein Obama today is because of the media. A lot of people call them the mainstream media, and I don't see anything mainstream about them. I mean, most of the media in this country is just, they're either biased or they're just prejudiced or whatever. But I mean, they definitely don't care about conservatives, and I'm getting to the point where I really think they don't care about the country.
Yeah, or they have such a perverted view of what a good country looks like. Exactly. That's what I think. Yeah. I don't think they're supporting our enemies for the purpose of supporting our enemies. They actually think that somehow being like the rest of the world is going to be better for the United States. And what they consider the rest of the world isn't even the European countries. It seems to be more of the radical regimes out there that we have historically distanced ourselves from, and now we seem to be beginning to mirror.
Right, they really lost their way, and they're up, the president's butt so bad that, that's the reason I call them the Chavez-Obama media.
The Chavez-Obama media, that's right. That's right. Yeah, so now it's the Chavez News Network, right?
Exactly.
For CNN, there you go. And
MSNBC.
Yeah, and I like that you say that, because people keep talking about the Europeization of America, and I you know what, that would be nice if we just only Europeized ourselves. But again, it looks like we're more like the third world country in terms of what we're trying to model, and in terms of the autocracy that's taking place, it's becoming increasingly autocratic. And I love what our founding fathers did with the ideas of checks and balances, but in some ways England has become better in the checks and balances department, because the prime minister can't do anything without parliamentary approval because he's a member of parliament.
Exactly, and I think they've made all these mistakes before, so they're figuring it out. We don't want to do it this way.
Yeah,
so they're coming back to where we were.
Yeah,
So.
And it's interesting. I don't know if you saw that the Prime Minister of England is advocating the privatization of huge parts of socialized medicine in England, while we fast track towards a system that clearly doesn't work. 90% of all meds and 90% of all new technologies in the world in healthcare are created by the U.S. Yet we want to shoot that goose that laid that golden egg.
Exactly, and it sort of goes in line with the Claret-Piven strategy, which this president uses a lot. It's trying to break the system.
Yeah,
they're trying to get everybody on welfare, trying to get everybody on health care, just get it where, we can't afford it. Yes. We can't afford it now.
No, we can't. We can't. And, it speaks a lot in terms of what the Founding Fathers warned us in terms about mob rule versus rule by law, which is a constitutional republic.
Right.
And people don't know the difference. You got sheeple now that have been educated by generations now by a government saying what government can and cannot do. If you asked 100 Americans, I'd be shocked if one of them knew what the differences were between a republic and a democracy.
Right, exactly. And most of them, this has been taught in college. I mean, that's what they learn in college.
Yep. Absolutely. And so it's a very, very sad state of affairs. So there's millions of Americans. In fact, there was literally hundreds of millions of Americans who've been affected by Obama's policies. I would say the vast majority of them adversely affected. There's some that's benefited, mainly major corporations. And I guess those who like to be on multi-generational welfare, I guess they've sort of benefited from it. But what made you feel so compelled to write a book?
Well, back in November, I think it was November 5th, 2008 now, I started my first version of the book. And I woke up that morning and I sort of looked at the candidates, and I knew John McCain wasn't a great choice, but he was a better choice than what we got, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I really blame the media for putting this guy in office. I mean, I think if they had done their job, vetted this guy, look at what they're doing to Republican candidates right now.
Yeah.
They had vet Obama like that. This guy would be laughed out of Washington, D.C.
Touche on that. No question about it. I couldn't agree with you more. And in fact, Juan Williams, who is something of a liberal, certainly a liberal, maybe evolving a little bit into a neocon because he has been taken a beating by the liberal media himself. Right. But he said, without question, Barack Obama is, without question, the least vetted president in U.S. history. And it didn't do him a favor, Barack Obama, and it certainly didn't do the country a favor. And I find that interesting coming from a Juan Williams.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we'll get back to the original point here. I mean, we really got to do something here to turn this country back around, for our kids, our grandkids, and actually now for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's getting to the point where we're going to be wiped out.
That's right. What's the name of your article that we're going to check out this evening?
The Chavez Obama Media.
There you go. Make sure you check it out. And I agree entirely. I've been talking about this. And you and I had a conversation about this before. What happened there with Herman Cain was nothing short of a hit job. And the media proved once and for all that it is racist. It's against minorities and women that are conservative. And boy, are they against them.
So like Democrats.
That's right. Doug Williamson is his name. Thoughts of an American Taxpayer is his book. You need to get the book. You need to read the article over there at usdailyreview.com. Again, that's usdailyreview.com. Fantastic stuff, and we're going to look into windows of that book over the next several programs coming up. Thanks so much, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me back on, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Look forward to it. A regular contributor here on The Price of Business.
We want you to know that the old methods to get new clients do not work. According to recent studies, business owners are spending more time than ever building their businesses, and they have less interest than ever when it comes to dealing with salespeople. So how do you get their attention in this tough economy? A new free report details a program used to profoundly open doors. It's been used on CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, famous entrepreneurs, and even national government leaders. Simply send an email to info@usdailyreview.com.
When you need to sell your home, you want an expert you can trust. Call Register Real Estate Advisors at 281-288-3500 for a realtor you can depend on. Haven't heard of RREA yet? Google us and see why we are nationally recognized for our innovation. We are one of the fastest growing real estate firms in Texas. We know how to make your home stand out from the competition and sell quickly and maximize your value. Visit us today at rrea.com to see how we sell houses. 281-288-3500.
The Price of Business is looking for your success stories. Are you an entrepreneur making it in this challenging economy? Have you developed a creative way to grow your business that you want others to know about? Have you developed smart and effective cost-cutting methods that bolster your bottom line? If so, we want to hear from you, and we might have you on as a guest. Send your story to info@usabusinessradio.com. That's info@usabusinessradio.com.